to another serving of Nerd Takeout. This week we have something interesting to talk about. We'll get to that in a moment. Last week we talked about what we thought our favorite games were, not what we thought they were, what they actually were. And this week we're going to continue on to video games. Before we get to our special treat for y'all next week.
Yeah.
For you all, man, I just totally southern myself there.
It's okay.
Y'all.
Some butter.
Yeah.
Holiday.
So yeah, before we get rolling into this week's topic, we do a different thing. We do a thing every week where we go around and we explain kind of something that we've played or enjoyed or like absolutely did not enjoy. And we just kind of talk about it for a second. So Andrew, why don't you go first?
I'll go first. Since we talked about our favorite video games last week, or last time we podcast, I pulled out my old Nintendo Entertainment System.
It's like finish
Hot.
your sentence.
Yeah. Nah, pause for a moment.
Yeah.
And I just played Galaga and Super Mario Brothers 3 for like the last 5 days of my
Did
life.
it work on the first try when you first put it in?
No. I had to blow on that bitch for like...
Such
30,
is your life.
And then you put it in, you have to like jiggle it a little bit, and then press the reset button like 10 times.
But here's the cool thing. I didn't have to go to a store and pay money to have someone fix
That's
it.
true.
Exactly.
It wasn't $90 or you didn't have to have a black
The
tie on.
fact that system still works.
Yeah. Is your like a plastic like a yellowish tint, or did it stay like the normal plastic color? Okay, that's good. That's good. I know a lot of them turn yellow after time.
It's nicotine covering it.
That's really not the truth. It's cheap plastic actually turns yellow. That's kind of why it does
Your
that.
parents would be offended.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah, it's like, I don't smoke cigars outside, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I've been playing Darksiders 2.
It's John Michael, by the way.
Yeah, John Michael, since we have to identify ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
That's
all right,
cool.
so this week's it's Josh Carley. That was Andrew Green.
I was
John
Andrew.
Michael Carley. And so Joe Michael Carley. What's
Galaga.
up?
Yeah, Darksiders 2. Okay. That game...
Death lives.
It's true. Is that the tagline?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
Death lives.
Oh, that's
Death
a terrible
lives.
tagline
Yeah,
for an
bad.
awesome game.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the first
Throw
one...
people the hell off. Like, what is this game?
So I'm playing this game, and I'm like, wow, this is like my new favorite Zelda game. Because...
Did they have a portal gun in this one? Or you don't know
Not
I'm
yet.
pretty sure I've seen like some portals around. So I'm pretty sure... I mean, I'm like maybe about 10 hours in or so, something like that, and I'm, I feel like I've got a ways to go still.
Oh, that's
First
impressive.
It's supposed to be a lot longer
First one's
than...
really long.
Yeah.
It's only like 12 or 13, I think.
This
took
one's
me a long
substantially
time.
longer. Like the
Maybe I
worlds
just
are bigger.
dominated
and-
the first
what
one
do you-
so
what do
much,
you,
that
what system are you-
probably didn't happen at all.
What system are you playing it on?
On PS3.
On PS3, that's good.
Second one's
Yeah.
it's actually more of an RPG. It's like more
Yeah.
open world, and like I like the loot system too.
Yeah.
It's
actually
it's
has a
actually
loot
Do you
system.
excellent.
have conversation things that you can choose to
Yeah,
respond
sort of. I mean, it's
Like,
not
is that
like
there any way
It's
to
not like
like
in depth.
yeah, we're not like Mass Affecting it over here or anything, where it's
Yeah.
like going to
Doesn't,
change
like,
the
affect the
world.
story.
But you can
do you choose to kill
pick-
God or let him live?
it's like really
your
just like
sorry, that was
so,
offensive.
so your choices don't matter as much as they do in Mass Effect 3. Okay.
exactly.
Lightning
That's
Basically,
good.
you just like talk to NPCs to get quests and things like that.
Well,
So-
if you have more than
Don't.
okay,
No more Mass Effect 3 jokes. Okay. But yeah, you like, so it's good?
no, I highly recommend it. It's like it got the coolest elements of.
So
I
you
think.
recommend me borrowing it from you? When
Of course,
you're
yeah.
done?
once
We're
or
gonna
twice.
all just borrow that game. That
I
sounds
don't have a
good.
PS3. Buy an Xbox first so I can borrow it.
No, but it's. I'm playing it. I'm like, again, this is like a really fun Zelda game because it's
Yeah.
pretty much what it is, and it's got elements from like Diablo in there, like good like loot elements, and also very cool Prince of Persia elements as well.
Like, you're talking about like the Sands of Time thing? Like
Yeah,
jumping
kind of
on
like
the...
like the parkour kind of elements, like running around, like grabbing onto like things, and like to get from point A to B.
Yeah.
It's not just run there. You
See,
have
I
to, like,
never
the
played
wall
even the
running
first
stuff.
Dark Sides, but I just hear so many good things. I probably need to give those.
I mean, and the
a try.
puzzles are like the puzzles in this game. They're interesting. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm racking my brain pulling my hair out. I feel like I'm
in the first
a
one.
little bit smarter once I figure them out. I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing here, Darksiders 2. It might take me a few tries, but like I don't know, it's a good game. I recommend everybody
I
check
like
it
the
out.
character design in that game too.
Yeah,
It's
it's
totally awesome.
it's
It
a
looks like McFarlane, but like, isn't some other graphic artist who's doing? It's like some
Yeah, I'm not
guy
sure.
who does comic. Yeah, it's some
It's-
comic book.
it
dude,
looks
I'm not
really
Well,
sure.
it seems interesting because the guy in the first one was really embellishedly done, like with the big hands, and so this one's more of like a
Yeah, well, I mean, like because you're death in this one. I mean,
Right.
If you haven't heard,
Spoilers!
spoilers. He's on the front of the box.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely
As
is.
you were war in the previous one, you were
Right.
you were like
You're
this
his brother.
hulking giant.
Yeah.
You just like like beat people with a big ass sword and stuff. And this one, like, you have scythes, like twin scythes that combine to make a giant one at times. But you're so much faster and like more agile.
More nimble,
yeah. It's a different kind of play style almost.
So you're not Kratos in this one, is what you're saying?
You kind of are.
Okay.
So, but in a
You're
good
totally
way.
Kratos in the first one.
I mean, you're like more of his like faster attacks in this one.
Oh, nice,
So,
nice.
Huh.
But they also have like secondary weapons you can get, like and like different ones, like because you have your sides, but you can also get like a giant mace or a big axe or something, or like claws or like wrist blades and stuff like that. It's a lot of cool like secondary weapons you can also
combo
have.
like the light weapons and then
Yeah.
finish it up with the heavy weapon.
Yeah.
In one combo. It's nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Neil, what have you been playing? We talked a lot about
I
Last of Us
have
2.
been
Neil
playing
Porsche,
nothing but Persona 4 Arena. That's
Game's
like the
weird,
fighting
man.
game. Yeah, so while
Weird.
we were waiting for Josh to get here to do the podcast, we sat around in my room and played some Persona 4 Arena. So how did y'all feel about that game?
Well, you know, I liked seeing all my favorite Persona characters there from 3 and 4. But it's
It's a
very
weird
strange.
ass game.
I mean, let's face it, like the Persona games are weird already in a very cool way. But when you put that into like a fighting
Yeah,
style game,
it's definitely really strange that they decided like that's the route that someone wanted to take with it.
Yeah,
and
like-
it's even no spoilers about it, but direct sequel to 4, which I find even more strange because I haven't even played 4 yet. But the game's storyline actually
That's what I
continues
hear,
that, and it
yeah.
has like a real RPG storyline that I was seeing. But no, I've actually enjoyed playing the game so far. It seems like it can be really deep, and there's a lot of stuff going on because there's a whole bunch of different systems and like status effects going on with your characters, and you have your personas attacks, and they can get knocked out and things like that. But it seems easy still to pick up and play and kind of mash around stuff and get
definitely.
things done.
we're sitting around playing, and I'll, like every like 4 minutes, you're like, "Whoa, dude, how'd you do that? I don't know.
I
How'd
just
you do
pressed
that?
X
I don't
a
know."
lot. Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom in. I can't do it.
Yeah. They have a guy who beats people with a folding chair, so I mean the game is pretty amazing if
it's
nothing else.
Spam the
Yeah,
square
so
button the
yeah,
entire
yeah.
time.
Persona's been my go-to thing this week.
Pretty good.
Outside of that,
Weird.
all I've done is played some more Pokemon Conquest on my DS and waiting for the XL to come out. So other than that, that's about all I've been doing.
Cool.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, Josh.
I'm trying to think of any movies I saw since the last podcast.
Is that something really bad? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't see anything really bad. I did see Beasts of the Southern Wild. It was all right.
You're all right.
Bam. All right, huh? I thought the movie was supposed to be really good. That's what
It
Andrew
was
kept
really
telling
good.
me. Oh.
That's fine. All right, go see it. It's really good. apparently.
Is it?
That's what I was told when I went and saw it.
Ouch. That's about it, though. That's all you've been
I played. I mean, I didn't. I pull out the Retro Duo, which is the Nintendo Super Nintendo combo.
doing illegal systems. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, it was purchased legally from a store. That's as far as I'll concern myself morally with it. But,
Debatable.
Well,
Yeah.
Nintendo should have renewed those patents. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that goes.
all I
yeah.
know is my brother and myself. Maybe I wasn't with him. I think I'm maybe getting stuff too much. Walked to a store and we bought it for a Father's Day present, and
Yeah.
they sold it to us.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
That's the end of it. That was like, all right, that's fine. That satisfies my moral compass.
Yeah.
But anyways, pulled out some of those games: Super Mario 3, Super Mario World, Mega Man X, Street Fighter 2. And then I played. I'm doing like an annual playthrough of Chrono Trigger, but
Jesus.
I actually got to finally play Star Fox 64 on the 3DS.
That game's awesome.
That game is awesome. It is short.
Oh,
I forgot how
I beat that
short-
game
I
like
forgot how-
3 times when I was playing it.
Yeah, I forgot how
Three
short it
times
was.
2 hours.
But then it's like, yeah, I mean, you got all the different levels. It's fun. I mean, the dialogue is definitely a grilled cheese fest. But
Yeah, but
like,
it sounds awesome when they
Ah,
talk.
barrel roll.
Yeah.
Get this guy off me, Fox.
oh, dude, I forgot.
No.
That's why it was so much better on like the Super Nintendo when they just made those cool sound effects. Yeah.
Slippy second
What
only
the
to
heck?
Navi, dude.
Star Wolf.
Get this guy off me. I remember playing him as a kid and just being like, no, I'm sorry. You can bite the turf, dude. I'm not. It's not
Yeah.
happening.
I know a friend from work was asking me what
Stop.
game he should get first when he was getting his 3DS, and I actually recommended that from one of the ones for him to get because I know he really likes Star Fox. And I think on the 3DS it did a pretty good job. It holds
It
up.
does. The 3D is pretty good. I mean, it's not too much. And the guy that I recommended getting it, he's on the go a lot. So he's like, I don't have time to like really invest in a game. So what's a game I can just pick up and have fun with? I was like,
Yeah.
well, Star Fox.
Shoot stuff.
Or
And,
Kid Icarus Uprising.
Yeah, but then you need to like do these crazy things with your
I
hands.
Have a
can't-
third
I can't lay
arm.
my head against the pillow
Yeah.
for Kid Icarus and just be like, awesome.
Although
And,
Kid
like-
Icarus is an outstanding, good-looking game on the 3DS. It
It
just
is.
looks beautiful.
So that's Fun game. I don't know that I don't know, the $40 price tag kind of bothers me.
Oh,
on
it's
Star
horrible
Fox.
price tag.
Especially
$40 on like anything on a Nintendo platform right now that doesn't say Mario on it's probably a bad idea. But
especially considering that like this isn't like a new game.
it's like $10 on the Wii to download. But they were like, hey, we redid some stuff. We got some more multiplayer. Yeah,
We put gyro control. That's also I didn't even use those. I just
it was kind of neat,
64,
but yeah,
64,
it messes
I
up
don't
the
know.
3D when you're moving your system
I
up.
feel like if I ever got a 3DS, I would just do like the old school downloadable games. Like I want to download. What is it? Is it Link's Awakening?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
there?
DX.
I
They
actually
have a link to the
digging
past on there, too,
through my
or
old games to figure out when I want to play the retro duo. We had 2 copies of Link's Awakening.
Man, you need to give me one.
That was
of them,
probably
shit.
mine.
Oh, that's
Probably.
that was never mind. I don't
Game
have
Boy
that.
Color, maybe.
Yeah, the DX
regular
one.
Game
The
Boy.
DX
The DX
was.
one was for color, but yeah.
That's
color.
yeah,
That's color.
too old. But yeah, I mean that's a good game.
Yeah, there's a lot of old games I'm thinking about going through. I just have such a long backlog already.
Isn't that ironic though that now you buy these systems and one of the perks for me personally in buying a system is how much backwards compatibility does it have? Like how much
Yeah.
access do I have
To play my older games.
to play my older games? Yeah, like I don't know, and I don't think I'm the only person that feels that way.
Yep, I know.
So-
Sony doesn't, but yeah.
Right. That's correct.
I mean,
All right, so yeah, so there you go. It's fun stuff. I don't know if I update. I finished season 3 of Breaking Bad.
Oh, it's-
I don't know if I talked about that, but oh my goodness.
don't
Oh
say
my
a
goodness.
damn thing about that. My roommate's watching that too. I need
All
to catch
I'm
up.
gonna say is,
Drugs.
oh my goodness, go and watch it. That's it.
That's a
I'm done.
fantastic.
You told me season 4 was good. My friend Coleman told me that season 4 is amazing. Can't wait to start it. But if you have
An addiction to drugs.
if you have a disposition to things that are like really really gritty, then maybe don't watch it. But other than that, just phenomenal.
What
You're
if you
a
like
fan of-
meth? Is that
If you like
Yeah, if
meth,
you like
then I'm sure
meth,
it will
this
be
is-
your favorite show ever, right next
Or if
to
you
The
like
Wire.
Bryan
Awesome.
Cranston.
okay.
Or
If you like good acting and writing,
if you like Malcolm in the Middle, this is the show for you.
Perfect?
It's the best segue show.
they shave his back in every episode of Breaking Bad. No. Anyways, all right. So there you go. Go play. Go watch. We'll listen to the rest of our podcast first. All right. So this week we're gonna talk about something a little bit different, and it's something that we've been talked to. That's probably been talked to death.
The Legend of Zelda timeline.
Batman.
Batman Arkham City.
Mass Effect 3. We hadn't touched that one.
Oh,
Killer Croc Origins.
Jesus.
No,
Did
I
you know he's
guess.
starring the Spider-Man movie? It's crazy.
Anyway, so I guess so I'll just because I haven't really talked. I mentioned this to Neil, but I haven't really even mentioned this to y'all.
Yeah,
so
it's
we're
like a
kind of going into this
Surprise topic.
blindly. Right? John Michael. No, I'm kidding. Put you on blast
This
here.
is an intervention.
Why are you wearing no? So I had someone. I think it was last Friday. I know this because I was doing something and I had someone make a comment to me, and it's like literally the trillionth time I've heard a comment of this variation. And we were talking about. I was talking about video games with someone else, and then someone snarked off the comment. They said, half joking, half honest. Oh yeah, video games. I played those till I was 9, and then I got into girls.
Who said that? I wanna know. Who said that? Is it someone that I know?
No, I'm not saying any names.
Yeah, you are. Get one of them. Not
It was
recording.
Tucker and Chaz.
Tucker,
Or Biff.
Jazz.
Yeah,
Biff
Biff.
was there too.
Biff.
Yeah.
Biff.
So how'd that make you feel, Josh?
Well, it aggravated me for numerous reasons. But so that's what we're going to kind of talk about is just some of these preconceived notions about games and stigmas against games. Not to be confused with stigmatas, which are markings of Christ, but
Amen.
Or the movie Stigmata.
which sucks.
It's not a marking of Christ.
It's a all right. Anyways,
Wasn't that Patricia Arquette?
yes, Patricia Arquette and Gabriel Byrne. No, that's into
We're not
days.
talking about stigma.
Yes, we are, Neil.
Is
This is a
he in
surprise
that?
topic.
He's in a lot of
I
those
think
like
so.
religious, like you know what I'm saying, like oh, there's the devil or whatever. And this who's the devil in End of Days. I watched that like 3 months ago. Insane. Rewatch it. I totally Netflixed it. Anyways, so this week I just kind of want to bring in, we can start with that one, and then we'll roll on to some other things. But okay, let's start with that comment, right? All right, so I stopped playing games. Well, there's two. I think there's two things in that. So let's start with the first part. I stopped playing games when I was 9 years old. I'll piggyback off of that. I used to work at Best Buy gaming department, And I'll never forget one time I had this lady looking for a game for her kid, and it might have been Mario, Super Mario 3D Land, great game. And I said, "Oh, you should get him this one. It's totally fun." She looked at me with a strange look, and she was like, "You still play these?" And I was just like, "Yes, ma'am." She's like, "Oh,
you poor child."
Okay, and it's like, so let's touch on that. I mean, who wants to go first?
Here's my first point, I guess. You said, you talked about what you were playing, and you said you went and bought the twin system for Father's Day.
Right.
So you bought it for your dad.
Correct.
Okay, so what you're saying is your dad enjoys video games.
Yeah, that's correct.
I know this. I'm just like...
Sure.
Right, as does mine. My dad bought my Xbox 360. And
my dad does. That's all my dad
came and pre-ordered Skyrim from me.
Right.
Yeah, my dad owns a 3DS. I got that for him for his birthday. He plays it every night. He also goes into it's not a console, but he's a PC gamer. He gets on his Steam account and plays Civ 5 every night too. So, he plays all kinds of games.
But, we're naming all these games like Civ 5 and things like that. But the point is, though, we can say that adults play them. We could say that our dads play them. We could say that we play them.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, to a lot of people, it doesn't matter how old you are. It's the fact that if you play a game, what you're doing is immature.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that games are still looked at as toys. Like as a general populace, like games are still looked at as toys, and they are marketed sometimes as toys. Like the Wii is still like a toy, even though a lot of people played it. Like it was marketed. Nintendo's always marketed their stuff like toys
because they're smart.
Almost until they got to the DS was the first time they really were like, this isn't just a toy. This is for everybody. This is, But like before that, it was always marketed as a toy. And I think that's really where a lot of that stigma comes from, like in general. I think and it's the problem with people not realizing what is a game,
right?
Because you don't shit on people for playing like checkers or chess or life or going to play basketball outside. These are all games. Video games has that connotation of being a toy, but they have Facebook games, they have mobile games. And everyone, like all these people play Words with Friends, and those people aren't going to consider themselves gamers, but that's still a game.
I mean, you can even carry that as far as like Madden.
Yeah,
okay, well, I don't play games
except Madden.
Except Madden.
People say they don't play games and they have an Xbox in their house, but they play Madden and Call of Duty on. I mean, that is very
that's kind of true. They don't play games, but
fact. But yeah, I don't know. That never happened to you, Andrew. You never had people coming to you when you worked any type of retail store?
I guess I'm just too awesome.
All the 3 different game retailers.
Well, they probably just assumed assumed you played games.
So on that similar thread to you, Josh, because I sell video games also.
Haven't we? Y'all 3 are currently selling them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I had before, even when I was in high school. So I've always had that. People.
I remember Christmas time, people come in, of course, around Christmas, everybody wants to know, parents, grandparents come in, they're like, I don't know what to get my kid/grandkid. And I'm like, okay, well, let's take a look around the store. Like, what are they like? What age are they? And would this be a good game for them? I'm like, I typically, if they have boys and stuff like that around the age of 8 to 10, I'll always be like, get them Pokemon. Yeah. This game is awesome.
It's very timeless. It works for them.
And I was explaining to them, I'm 24 years old and I still play this game. And they kind of look at me like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm dead serious.
Yeah, every time I try to say I play Pokemon with customers, that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's.
You kind of weird.
There's another. I
saw that for Red and Blue.
There is another stigma there, Pokemon versus other video games. Also, isn't that a kid's game also?
Yeah. Even though it happens to be just a really good, strategy type RPG, which it works for kids, but there's still a lot there.
Once you get older and you start learn about EV training and things like that,
breeding,
it's ridiculous. There's so much depth to that game that's just completely hidden. But again, that's one of those things people look at that and they're like, well, "That's dumb. You're not 7. Why are you playing this?"
I just won't help you out anymore. You can help yourself.
But yeah, and I think it's interesting because you're like, games equal Mario, which is another thing that it's anytime I recommend Mario for 8 or 9-year-old kids, are you? I think my son's older than that. I'm like, no, your son's not older than that. All right, your son.
I would like to interject one of my favorite questions. You have Mario on Xbox 360? Or when's Mario coming out on the 360?
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever.
When I worked at
I'm
EB
like, next
Games,
week, check back next week.
I worked at EB Games in like 2003, and I was working there. I remember this woman called on the holiday and said she just saw the commercial of Mario Brothers coming out on PS2. I was like, no, that's it's a Nintendo made product. It's not going to be on Sony stuff. She's like, well, could you at least look it up? So I just like banged on the keyboard really fast with my hands, and she's like, I know what you just did. I know you were just banging on your keyboard. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to waste my time. And ended up hanging up on her because at the time I was in high school, didn't even care. But no, like people.
Do you care now?
No, I still do that. But no, it's just funny how people don't. People want to ask us for advice on games. So they think they understand their children a lot too. Like I had a guy who came in. He said he wanted to buy a gift for his 10-year-old son. I was like, well, do you know what type of games he wants, or what are you trying to do? He goes, I don't know, PS3 or an Xbox. I don't really know what he wants. I was like, oh. And so he was getting kind of aggravated with me. I was trying to help him out, trying to lead him in the right direction. He's just like, I think he just wants Call of Duty. And I was like, well, just let you know it's rated mature and stuff like that. No, and he was just like, oh, I don't really care. He can shoot stuff, do whatever. Parents don't have a lot of that involvement, so.
It's true.
They don't, and I think like even just scanning down like we won't even get into that conversation whether kids should be playing them, but like I mean, kids obviously do play them, but like let's not. But I mean, you just look at a lot of the games and be like, okay, God of War 3, for instance. All right, let's take God of War 3. Clearly not a game for kids.
Yeah, that's crazy that places like Best Buy would have that on display for small children to play during the holiday.
There's freaking nudity in the demo. There's nudity in the demo.
For mom, go get this game for me.
But yeah, no,
but it was harpy boobs, so
yeah.
I guess are those not considered real boobs? I mean,
I guess it's like gorilla boobs on like the National Geographic Channel.
Yeah,
they're like get away with
they're like animals. They're not real people.
Yeah, see,
yeah,
it's okay.
They're like half boobs.
I mean, let's and then we'll piggyback on that.
How do we get here?
I just don't. I don't think. I mean, I think it's sad that people still associate it like that, but it doesn't really surprise me in any way that people look at that like that. It's like any other generation looking at things like how, the generation before us, parents looked at, comics or looked at the type of music they listen to and things like that. It's just how people don't get it. So until they die, it's still going to be a problem until you have people like, us when we become the people who are in power and stuff like that. Because it wasn't until now, like even like with Obama having like a Wii or even a video game system in the White House is like the first time that even something like that is going on. This is the first time, if you think about it, that we probably even had a president that even played video games at all, right? And that's going to get...
Well, I'm sure George Bush played like Duck Hunt or something.
Jesus, right? No, but
Cabela's Big Hunter.
But we're just getting to that point when like the generations who are going to be in that type of power even understand what video games are. Because a lot of them, people who are senators and Congress, they don't even understand the internet. Much less like video games.
Let's ban them all.
Right. So I mean, that's just a general problem of people as a whole.
Well, and I think that stems from a bigger issue, which is the one I want to tackle last because it's probably the most broad one. And then let's jump in this one. I'm sorry, this one's just silly, but let's jump to the second part of that. Is like I got into girls.
Girls, yes, girls.
Now hold on, that. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. I don't even know how to approach it.
It's like a scathing remark almost, like that. You're too like it's a nerdy thing, and nerds don't get girls. Basically,
nerds don't get ladies.
I mean, I remember like very distinctively. There was this time when my cousin, who is now out of the Marines, and he went in there for a while, and he used to play a lot of video games with me when I was younger. But I remember this point when he left to go into the Marines when I was probably in middle school. And when he came back around my 9th grade year of high school, and I just remember sitting down and having this conversation with me about how I should really consider how much I'm playing video games because I'm just going to grow out of it and I'm not going to want to do it anymore and I'm just wasting so much time playing video games and I should be interested in other things. And that stuck with me my whole life. Completely irrelevant. I've ignored that advice.
Right.
But it's just something that I remember so distinctively him trying to explain to me that like, you're just wasting time and stuff like that. And I don't know. I've met so many cool people because of me playing video games. I've taken an interest in learning Japanese and wanting to go to another country and went to another country because of me having such an interest in video games. So I don't regret or look down upon my interest in video games at all.
Right. And I don't think that... And again, that's something that...
And I still get girls. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure we all do.
Right, so whatever.
Well, I guess a get-to-know me moment here. I've been married for over a year now, happily. She doesn't play games. She bears no interest. It's not like I met someone at like a tournament or something, which is fine. If you do, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. but and she has no interest in games. But
She play
I'm
games
still
on her phone?
not really.
Weird.
I mean, kind of, but like
Yeah.
not extensively.
Right.
But but she, and not even that she tolerates me doing it. She understands that I enjoy it, and I do it. Now I don't do it to where it interferes. I
Sure,
mean, but
yeah.
that's with anything. But yeah, I mean, like, so I met her, and she knows that I play games, and I'm happily married. So I mean, like, I'm fucking a friend there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else to
One
say
in a
about
million,
that.
Josh. You're
Yeah.
one in a million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to disagree with you here. I mean,
Yeah,
we're all in that
like, it's
same
a
similar
completely
boat.
ignorant
I've never dated someone who had a problem with me playing video games. Me playing video games never affected my relationship with another person. And in fact, like I remember when I was in high school, 2 or 3 of my ex-girlfriends both bought PS2s just from hanging out with us because we used to play stuff so much.
That's
They bought it,
impressive.
right? They both bought it. One bought it for Kingdom Hearts because she got really into it, and the other one bought it to play Final Fantasy X.
Jamie did take an interest and start playing Kingdom Hearts for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where there are games. Okay, so if we want to go down the whole girl path, the whole games industry is not geared towards women, even though a lot of women play
Right.
video games, and they tear apart women a lot with the way they advertise and things like that. But there are a lot of games that some companies that try to do it differently, like the EA with the Sims and stuff usually does a good job, just the way they market it.
Right.
But there are a lot of games that I feel like anybody can play now. So this is a good time to where anybody can get into games, regardless of race, age, gender, or anything like that. I feel like games is a type of medium where anyone can get into it.
Right,
So.
right.
So, I guess 2 weeks ago, something like that, I bought Fatal Frame 2 on the PS2.
That's
dude.
by the way,
So-
that game's almost perfect. By the way,
Okay, so
Did you buy it from GameWare?
Yeah.
Dude, then I'm gonna have to borrow it. I
Go
walk in
GameWare.
there
I
like
think
all the
we're
time, and I
gonna
just look at it and I'm like,
yeah, I'm
I
how
wanna
much
buy
was
that.
that game?
It's
Normally
like 30
retail
bucks,
at your store.
20, 30, something like that.
Really? Because I know it was marked
Yeah.
up a lot.
I think it was like 30, 29.
Yeah.
Something like that.
How's your NES collection over there?
It's all right, pretty good. Well, anyway, my point.
Fatal
being-
Frame
We love GameWare.
Point being is I bought Fatal Frame from GameWare.
2.
And 2, yes. And so Letty has a PS2 at her
Who's
apartment.
Letty?
Letty's my girlfriend.
Okay.
And she has a PS2 that she found like stashed away, and she brought it with her to her apartment. And she got
Sounds
like
legit.
a couple games. Like she enjoys like Crash Bandicoot and stuff. But I bought this game because she likes like horror movies and things like she likes being scared.
That game's scary as shit.
Yes, it is. But so she doesn't want to play it at all. But she wants me to play it, and she wants to watch, and she loves it.
And I've heard a lot of people who their girlfriends or their wives or whatever have no interest in playing the games, but they want to watch. In fact, I knew a guy whose girlfriend would get mad at him if he bought a game and she didn't feel like she was going to be interested in watching it.
Chad from work, his girlfriend got pissed off when he played more of Uncharted 3 without her being there because she got really into Uncharted 1 and 2 and watched them play through a lot of it. And when he was playing 3 when she wasn't home, he didn't even think to be like, oh, this is going to be something she cared about.
Right.
But yeah, she did the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of games that have that, but just Fatal Frame 2, I remember playing that game in high school, and it was me and my friend Nicole, and I'd actually watch her play it a lot, even more. And I'm usually not the person who likes to watch, but that game is really like just scary as hell. Like did you see what happens if you like press pause on that game? Like if you leave the game on the pause menu and you just don't touch it, like we paused it and went in the kitchen and got like some crackers or something, and you come back and there's just bloody handprints that randomly start appearing on the screen.
Whoa.
Like
Terrifying.
so
Yeah.
That whole game is
terrifying. The sound design in Fatal Frame 2 is like one of the creepiest, scary, and you have nothing but a stupid camera, so you can't really do anything.
And
in
that radio thing, man,
they're small
That would
children.
terrify me, I think, more than anything else. Is the fact that all you have
is a camera.
And you play as these small little Asian girls. That game is weird, and that game is good. And Fatal, and it's stupid, yeah, Fatal Frame. I don't even want to talk about how awesome Fatal Frame is. I need to go back and play Fatal Frame 2 now. So,
Do you have anything that you want to add, Andrew?
I have a significant other,
and she's awesome.
but yeah, she's pretty cool.
You just downgraded from this.
I know. I gotta keep her in check, man. In case she's listening to this, but
Yeah.
she's not.
Let's be
Which
honest,
is
she
not.
doesn't listen.
I'm gonna time this and be like, here, listen to this part.
Timestamp that one.
Yep. Timestamp.
I mean,
That's
we
what's
played Plants vs Zombies together, which was
awesome,
fun. but-
amazing.
And I don't know. I would never sit there and watch her play. The only time I would sit there and watch her play was whenever she was playing Frogger because she's so bad at it, and I got just such a wonderful joy out of watching her just get ran over by the first car. I don't know. She doesn't like play
Significant
a whole lot of games. I've had her like come over to my house and work on homework while I'm playing. Actually, while I was playing Mass Effect 3 with my headphones on and everything. But I don't know. We don't. It's whatever.
You know, I had a friend tell me, definitely not going to mention names because there's a slight possibility that they could be listening to this and not know that their girlfriend was explaining this to me. But at one point, she was telling me how they had just recently started dating, and he had called her up and like, "Hey, you want to come over to play some video games and stuff?" And she was like, I guess. So she definitely one of those girls just doesn't have any interest in playing video games,
right.
and was very surprised when she came over there, and that's literally all he wanted to do was play video games for the whole entire night because she thought that he was kind of like just trying to get her over there and just hinting, but yeah, he just wanted to sit there and play like Call of Duty and some crappy fighting game the whole entire night.
Good.
So yeah, and I feel like but she is one of those people who just has that image of like, why in the hell would I want to play video games? Like, for what purpose?
Yeah, well, I feel like that's everyone's automatic like.
Speaking of which, I guess the segues into this next point that I have. So I was talking to someone today, our friend Dominique. Happy birthday, Dominique.
Happy birthday! It's her birthday today?
Yeah, it is
her
her birthday.
Happy birthday!
She hates her birthday. She's not listening to this.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's her birthday.
But she was telling me how Andrew, our dear friend Andrew Ficklin, has been playing Skyrim like all week, and she's like, he doesn't do anything else. She's like, I don't understand that. I put it to her like this.
He's into elves.
I was like, so as far as video games go, they're like books in which you are in control of the character. I think is a pretty fair way of explaining things like that to some people.
I feel like a lot of people use it as escapism, and that's what you would be doing in that way, that you can get lost in it because of
right. Like a lot of people like to read or movies. It's like it's a media escape.
You should have told her.
That's my main like that's.
Yeah,
and that's a good segue.
Yeah, segue.
Perfect. You should have told her that he's so unhappy with his real life that he must play video games to escape.
Yeah, because he can be a dragonborn, and that's way awesome than whatever I'm sure Andrew does in his real life.
Well, he actually is a dragonborn.
Oh, okay,
that's his actual job.
Yeah. That makes sense.
He's a professional dragonborn.
He's
really just reality check.
He like wears like a tie and like puts on his battle axe, and
that's pretty good.
Knows karate.
He does. So anyway, your bigger point was
your bigger point is
So
we can go to that.
So I mean, right. So we've been talking about the stigmas against video games and stuff like that, and so you say video games like video games, right? I'm gonna go play a video. I'm gonna go play a video game. That's antisocial, whatever. Fine. But if I were to say to someone, "What are you doing tonight?" "Oh, I'm gonna go see a movie." Cool. What are you gonna do tonight? I'm going to read a book. Book? What's that? No. But, it's a little bit more accepted. Or I'm going to go to a show, or, I play guitar.
Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to go play basketball.
I'm going to play basketball. Play basketball, go play football. And I guess my question that I want to pose to y'all is, why are video games a less accepted form of entertainment than... I mean, you could get into sports, you could say sports, but sports involves a certain level of fitness, so I don't know that that's necessarily comparable. But you have a lot of people who, who are like, oh, movies, I'm a film guy, I'm a movie guy, whatever, la da da. But they'll turn their nose up at video games. Or they'll love to read, but they'll turn their nose up at video games. And I don't know. I mean, I could jump in, but I think
it's because, again, not just because of the toy thing, but it just... they kind of have that, that thing in media now that was popular, that whole, man-child thing, where, the guy that never grows up. And I think that the video games kind of enforce that, that stereotype, that they just never grew up, and it's really easy to connect that with video games. Mm-hmm. So people look at it that way, and the whole, all video game people do is sit in their basement and do, that's just how that stereotype is. And there are a lot of people who fit that stereotype.
Oh, yeah. Stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah, and that's
Warcraft episode.
And that's something that even bothers me, when people, I distance myself, even though I'm perfectly content the fact that I play games. I went to video game conventions before, and I love video games.
That's lame.
Right? No. But there are a lot of people, even people I
out.
work with, that I would never associate myself with, who call themselves gamers, and I'm just like, cannot talk to you. So, I mean, I don't know.
What do you mean? So you go and see a movie because you're like, oh, I want to, this movie has a great story, this and that. But I mean, honestly, first Mass Effect, to me, has a way more interesting story,
Mm-hmm.
a better written story, a more interesting story than a lot of movies I've seen.
Transformers
come out in the past.
1, 2,
I mean, it's
3.
and the thing is, it's an interactive story.
Yeah.
But the story to me is more interesting. The first Uncharted, the relationship between those two characters,
Oh, yeah.
way more believable than anything, or I thought was more well done than anything I've seen in, I don't know, any action.
Some of those
romance.
typical action, like
Right.
Hollywood
And
movies.
I feel like that's something that a lot of people just they don't know exists, and it's like, well, no, there's a story here.
Mhm.
That's
not all
because
the time.
that's the games to most people is what is advertised. It's just going to be shoot, or jump, and like that's literally the only
Right.
two things they see.
Mhm.
And I mean that's partially the video game company's fault, but that's what sells games. So that's why. I mean that's why I think people feel like that's because that's all they see.
No, yeah, I agree.
And they're not going to play the games because there's not the barrier to entry for video games is too high for a lot of people to try. Whereas a movie ticket is
What it is
$7,
now.
or where movie tickets only like $9 to $10 now. Whereas if you wanted to just get into video games,
Well, I mean, even some people like, how do I control Uncharted? How
Yeah.
do I do this? How does
Yeah.
this even work?
Yeah.
which is
Really
why I feel
go.
like mobile games are important because that broke down that barrier to be a lot easier for people to do. Because we don't have arcades and things like that here anymore. It's where
Get a
people can just play
GameWare.
video games. We don't have real arcades with good games here anymore. So.
The more silent scope, man. It's a sad world.
But do you want to comment on that? Do you want to comment on how people view games in relation to other forms of entertainment
Well,
as not being as acceptable?
I think it's a lot of what Neil was saying, and just that
Damn right.
it has we're at this like weird generational like schism, I guess,
Waiting for him to die.
where like people, and it's like
We'll play Galaga in the meantime.
I feel like some of it's like upbringing as well, like obviously our dad's Josh, and
Yeah, and mine grew up playing.
Yeah.
My dad had it in television that I still play. So like he was playing games before I was birthed. So I mean, yeah.
So
My NES was actually hand-me-down from my father.
yeah, see, like, so we were raised in households that like support and like encourage things like
And
that.
so when that keeps going,
Yeah.
we'll be
So
good.
hell yeah, I'm gonna have my like kid, whether it's a boy or a girl, they're gonna have my old systems. Here's my theory: is this? Well, it's not a theory. It's like what I'm gonna do.
Intention and fact.
So obviously, by about the time I have kids, there will be some new gaming consoles on the market, and as they
There'll
get
be
older,
one. No.
as they get older, there will be newer
Apple
ones.
devices.
But my kids
Planted in your brain.
are going to
Shit.
have to like they're going to have my plan is this: they will have a set of game challenges, like these certain games, and as they're
Achievements,
younger,
we'll call them.
it was something like that. But like whenever
Like if you
say.
want to eat.
well, no. Like whenever
Run the gauntlet.
they're not getting the newer stuff. Like I might buy it for me, maybe, but they're not getting it until they've completed the older stuff. They have to have beat like certain like
This
original
is so
Nintendo
not
games.
going to work.
It's going to work perfectly. They're gonna be like that douchebag at
I
school.
was like, your NES is going to be
Who's
like
like-
40 years old almost by the time your
They're
kid's
gonna-
old enough to play the NES.
They're gonna
They'll
be
able
like
to save
they're gonna be
themselves.
like video game hipsters. They're gonna be like
Interesting.
tell everyone how like oh yeah you enjoy
Like
this
Super
new Mario
3
game.
Pro, I'm so
Yeah,
underground.
like
Yeah.
we got all the flutes.
And all I want to do is play the new system. He's like, no, that's mine. Sorry.
yeah.
You want to?
But
I guess
I was just gonna say I completely intend on like raising my kids in that environment. Not
Correctly.
like not like you have to do this. You can't play sports or whatever. My kid can
You
do
just
whatever
can't
they want.
eat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They won't get like
Electricity, a bed. Yeah. I
yeah.
understand.
Well, they will get a beating if they don't.
Right.
But that's the one thing they will get.
I guess it's like the same thing. The whole LARPing fantasy football comparison thing.
I have no idea where we're going with this now. What?
No, Josh knows what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
It's the same kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Fantasy
like the
football?
whole role playing and how role playing and fantasy football is accepted, but like live action role playing is not.
The comparison we're making is like
There's no comparison to me between LARPing and fantasy football. Where are y'all going with this?
let's. You want to
Clarify.
Okay. So, like, we were talking about one time, because I have some friends that LARP. I don't personally LARP. I have a great deal of respect for people who can, but it's not something that I do.
Dark On.
But, that's a great
It's
movie.
an amazing
It's a
movie.
great movie.
Go watch Dark On
Yeah,
Netflix.
it's
Great
Learn all
documentary.
about
Great
LARPing.
documentary.
It's good.
But no, it's like, so, people, we'll go see people LARP, right? and we'll laugh at them and be like, oh, they're dressed up in weird paint and costumes, and that's silly, right? That's completely absurd.
Lightning bolt.
Right. Why would someone do that? That's completely absurd. But we have no problem with some drunken moron painting his entire body some color of something, putting something on his head.
I have a problem with those people. I'm just letting you know. I don't even watch football.
Right, but I'm saying
Neil has a problem with all of those people.
I'm just saying, like,
if they're soccer fans, it's okay though.
Yeah.
Well,
that's fine. We'll excuse soccer fans. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, that's okay to do that. It's okay to get drunk and to vomit all over the place. That, for some reason, is socially acceptable, to paint yourself this color at this thing, wake up at, playing your whole week around getting to said college campus at 8 o'clock, spending the whole day there. That's okay. But you can't dress in green and put ears on, but that's weird. That one's too weird. And then the other part of the analogy would be like, you created this character. That's completely bizarre that you created this character, you created this set of moves, right? But they have entire I don't know.
Man, fantasy football is weird. So I mean,
you created an entire fake team. You have your own team that actively competes against other teams. It's not real, but people get so vehement. I mean, there's money.
There's a lot of money. There's money. In fact, I am playing in a fantasy football league this year.
That's cool.
Good for you.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it's an interesting, and you could get like, well, maybe this might be. But the point is that you're creating and you're actively and emotionally indulging yourself in something that's not real, or you're painting yourself up to look some kind of way. Mm-hmm. And on the left side it's okay, on the right side it's not, and it's all because of some social stigma because it's different.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's ever going to be overcome though, like ever.
Yeah, when everyone else dies, when John Michael's kids, after being raised in that gauntlet of activities they have to do, and understand why video games are awesome.
What a sweet utopia.
Everyone,
well, John Michael's kids, but will it stand to reason though that John Michael's kids, my second cousins, would be sitting around doing this and having the same conversation because those people's kids still approach life with the same understanding?
I still think that in terms of how video games, that's going to be perceived differently, because as a cultural as a whole, I think video games will be perceived differently. I still think you'll have there won't be looked at like this is the greatest thing, but I think bringing it closer to what sports are, I think eventually will happen. I just think that's how it's going to be, because we've all just been raised with that.
We can all look at the progress so far. Like, video games now, even though like there is still stigma there, they're so much more readily accepted now, and they've become so much more mainstream.
That's like when we were talking about comic book movies. Like, that would have been ridiculous to be popular a few years ago, or 20 years ago, or whenever comics were just, everyone's like, oh, comics are the devil, and that's perfectly acceptable now. For you to bring your kid to go see Spider-Man, it's awesome. So I think over time, that'll just.
So I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, $60, that's a lot for a game, and I'm like, okay, sure, but I mean, games used to actually be more expensive.
Chrono Trigger.
But then I'll tell them like the price of like a used like old game, like Chrono Trigger. How much is Chrono Trigger? Well, it's like $50-$60. Why is it so expensive? Well,
because it's good.
Because it's awesome, and they didn't make a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, that game actually. The cool thing about that game is that game didn't actually get popular here in America until they decided to stop manufacturing it.
Yeah.
It's because Americans are stupid.
Right. Well, you know that right now on Amazon, a new inbox copy of Secret of Mana is like $9,000.
I want that.
You know what's not worth that? Not Secret of Mana.
But if you look
Any
today,
game ever made,
like, I mean, those are great games.
$9,000.
But if you look at the great games, I guess that come out today, for the most part, there's like some sleeper hits out there. But those great games are being like so mass produced, and everybody knows about what the great games are out there.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to be like as rare as these older ones are. Like in 10, 20 years. I mean,
in digital, the way digital distribution works, I feel like more people can play. It'll be easier for you to make your kids play games just because of that. With certain things you won't be able to find.
Well, what do you want to? I mean, what do you think in terms of you made a statement earlier?
I make a lot of them.
Where you were sat down to explain that maybe you should do other things, and I've had someone tell me, video games are a colossal waste of time. That's an exact quote. And
you should watch more football.
How old was this person that told you that?
Our age? I don't want to demean that person. I'll be nice and say probably early 40s.
I've had people our age tell me that all the time.
Oh yeah. Well, the question is, it's
the
like,
people I work with or we've worked with at our jobs that have said that just do not understand.
Right, and we can sit here and diagnose. Well, we think it's because of this, but let's not do that. Let's just not attack. Well, give your opinions on that comment period, regardless of why someone says it. I mean, there are reasons why people say things that don't make them so.
What was the comment again?
Video games are a colossal waste of time.
Well, so are you. Stop wasting my oxygen. That's what I would say.
So is every form of entertainment.
So healthy dialogue is
right. And then I'll walk away.
I feel like every form of entertainment is like, and if you're not doing something to, if you're not going to do something to better yourself or better the world around you, then you can make the excuse that it's a waste of your time to a lot of people. So I mean, I can say that about anything, but I mean, I feel like it's entertaining to me, so that's why I do it, because it passes the time and it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Now I can make the argument that some of the games that are created now that might be on Facebook or might be free to play might be a waste of time, because all they do is they just waste time. Like, that's what the games are created to do, is to just waste time. But I mean, there are companies that make a lot of money off of that stuff. So I mean, but that's a whole other topic.
No, but I was just saying, like, because to me it's like, that's my thing. It's like, why is it a waste of time? And I get why it is in some regards. I mean, you can definitely waste your life away playing games. You could waste your life away drinking water. I mean, you can waste your life away doing anything. But to me, I find a certain enjoyment in video games, and just, to me, I personally feel like there's a creative expansion that goes on, like just being a part of like something like Mass Effect, despite opinions or whatever. But the fact that, wow, someone's created this entire world, and I love being in it, and I'm engaged in the story, and I think that's impressive. I don't.
So, speaking of which, there's a quote by John Lennon that I saw the other day, and it says, he says,
you've already just divided like
what
people listening to this in half.
Like,
keep going.
John Lennon from the Beatles.
There's the vision there. There's the vision.
What did I say?
Anyway, he said, "Time you enjoy wasting was not wasted."
Word.
I think that's a pretty good quote.
Yeah.
What about time that you were wasted? Was that wasted?
Did you enjoy yourself?
Never.
Then it was not wasted.
No, I mean, I
did.
No, I think, I mean, dude, I just feel like I said, those people are going to die, and we'll be fine. Eventually, things will be okay. But
that's all we're waiting for.
Yeah,
come on, guys, come on.
For the time being, you can't really do anything to change these people's minds, and the video game industry itself is not doing us any favors. So,
right, I mean, do you have something you want to say in regards to that?
Oh, I think it's a very well said quote, because I mean, do we really have to spend like our entire life like just doing something like relevant and important to, like, I don't know, anything?
Why? Because what's the meaning of life anyways, John?
God, yeah, let's have a podcast about that.
Yes, get ready, buckle your seatbelts, everyone.
Actually, that's next week's topic.
During
D&D.
Yeah. We're going to quest for the meaning of life.
Done.
I mean, you just have to find, like, what you enjoy in life. And if that's, like, people can say it's a waste of time, but if you honestly enjoyed the time you spent doing that, like, why? Who is that hurting?
And the reasoning of gaming being antisocial is just complete shit now, because, like I said, there have been so many situations where gaming has helped me be more social, having something to talk about, since that's about 89% of things that come out of my mouth.
There are these people I've been playing Xbox Live with since my 10th grade year of high school, which was like 8 years ago. I'm still very good friends. I've never met them in real life, but I'm still very good friends with them.
I had a like 10-20 minute conversation with a dude at IHOP last night because he had a Horde tattoo on his arm. So we just started talking about video games for like 20 minutes.
I walked away from that guy.
Well, we didn't talk about World of Warcraft because I'm cool and he's clearly not.
You're in the Alliance.
I think it's interesting. I mean, like, I do feel like there's a certain cutoff point where you're like, all right, you need to be benefiting society in some way. You need to be giving back.
Like this podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah, this
right.
is art.
It's a waste of time.
No, it's complete, and that's something.
And no one's wasting their time at all by listening to this.
But that's something actually that thing crossed my mind. It's like, is what we're doing a total waste of time? Is it by definition a waste of time? I don't know.
No, because we're having an awesome time.
You could certainly argue the point, but I'm saying, like, there's a certain. I don't feel like anyone would tell you. No one. I don't feel like a good thinking person would tell you that 100% of the time You need to be working. I don't think anyone would tell you that.
Jesus.
Not Jesus wouldn't tell you that. And I don't think Jesus would say that.
He would never say that.
But I mean, come on, Jesus went to parties, right? Jesus went to parties, right?
He was
Turned
always
water into wine, right?
relevant. He was doing relevant
He
things.
would have played Pokemon Conquest.
No, but
Oh, Jesus totally would have played Pokemon.
everyone would have played Pokemon Conquest.
Jesus would have played Super Mario 3D Land and enjoyed
I'm
it.
waiting for the lightning bolt to come.
Oh, come on.
Jesus
Come
doesn't shoot
on.
lightning.
Yes.
Move on. That's Zeus. Moving on. No, anyways, I'm just saying, like,
Stigmata. I get it now.
right.
We've come full
we've come
circle,
full
you
circle,
guys. The podcast is now
And no
over.
one's drinking on this podcast. It's
Yeah, but
great.
anyways, but the point is, like,
Not
you
this
know,
week.
Life, man.
you go and you work. You know, you work your 9 to 5. I don't work 9 to 5, but you know, people work 9 to 5. You have different work. You have different work schedules, and it's like, okay, well, I think anyone would tell you, well, you know, take a break. You need to go enjoy yourself. Take the weekend off. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, I'm going to go take a break, enjoy myself. I'm doing quotes, by the way.
That's a complete waste of time.
By playing video games. Whoa, that's a waste of time.
Yeah,
That's a waste of time. That's not relaxing. That's not entertainment. You can't go do that. Go see a movie. And I'm saying this
like
like
The
I don't.
Shining, where he put all that. He
I was
was
about
like
to say,
working
you talk
so
about that boring
hard.
movie?
See how that ended up.
Yeah,
That was
he
a great ending.
Jack Nicholson worked
Hey, all
so
work
hard.
and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah,
right?
and then he tried
that's-
to murder his family because he
Spoilers.
because
That
no
movie's
one's
only
seen
like
that.
what 40 years old now. Are you really not?
No, I've seen that movie.
Okay.
Of course. I think it's a boring movie, but
Oh yeah.
Like, you're a boring movie.
I like Stephen King sometimes.
We're not, well, that's not that.
Like The Langoliers.
Stephen King has disowned the Stanley
Langoliers.
Kubrick Shining because it's nothing like his writing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, no,
It was
I
a good ending.
No, I'm just joking. You know, that's why my dad's a big anti-Stephen King ending guy.
It's because so is Stephen King.
Well, yeah.
He's an
Anyways,
ending guy.
So if girls play video games, does that mean those girls can't get girls either?
If we could have a whole podcast about girls and video games, because that whole thing just drives me insane. The way,
just go by that person's
like they just
logic.
had a big old thing that hit all the blog sites when the Borderlands 2 guy, he made this comment during his, like, he was giving like a press speech about, oh, this is our girlfriend mode. And I forgot what the mode was, like the easy mode and stuff like that. And I'm just like, see, that's slightly sexist now. Like, that is not an okay
Still
thing
gonna
to
play
say
that
anymore.
game, but-
No, but it's just one of those things where it's like there are a lot of girls who play Borderlands. There are a lot of girls who play Borderlands that are probably better than me at Borderlands. There are a lot of girls who play a lot of video games that are better than us. And there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to enjoy the same medium, but be treated on the same level. And it's just not like that. And I think that's
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that we're even having that discussion
is better now.
or why really okay. So like the Lara Croft thing,
Yeah.
when he came out and said that, there was that's offensive.
Yep.
But it's like, well, why is that? And we're just to that point now where
And I'm
think
glad
that's
we're
good.
at least
I
to
think
the point
it's-
where we can have that dialogue,
Yeah.
even if it's still, yeah.
All right. So, did y'all have anything else y'all wanted to add? Okay.
Nope.
We're gonna after the jump, we're gonna get into
Everybody jump.
Yeah.
Jump.
after we come back,
Chris
we're gonna
Cross will
talk
make
about how people who don't play video games actually play a lot of video games,
Right.
and that'll be fun. I feel like our conversation's kind
Wait,
of
what?
even going in that direction.
What are we
Anyways.
talking about?
Yep, we're gonna do it. Okay,
It's
let's
a
hit a break.
surprise
Let's hit a
topic.
break.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. We're gonna jump on to our not new topic, just the transition of the
Topic train.
which is people who say they don't play video games or don't like video games, but they actually play video games. And what I'm talking about is mobile gaming. I feel like Facebook gaming. Oh my goodness, Facebook gaming. I feel like the Wii, to some extent, works.
Actually,
in that
no one
regard.
plays the Wii anymore.
But it did work.
Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, the last story.
Yeah, that can. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And then the Kinect, like the Kinect. That's not a video game, right?
That's true.
Well, it's not.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Even though
It's a
in my room before this podcast, both of them were playing that happy. What is it called? Like happy. God, I can't remember
I know you're
it.
shooting lava
The
fireball
awesome
at
one
each
made
other.
with the Brutal Legend team and all those guys. And that's
Nice.
happy time.
It's
I don't
fun.
know. It's awesome.
Like the only good game on the Kinect.
You can throw fire and run around, and all
But
the
it's
games
not
are
a
actually
video
kind of
game,
neat though.
so
Yeah.
it's not a
They're
video game.
interesting.
I mean, well,
Peggle.
let's jump into that. All right, so
Yeah.
what was the stat that you just threw out?
I said that there were 230 million people who played games on Facebook.com in the last 30 days. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But that's not a video game, right?
Facebook has games on it that are video games. Yes.
But why do you think that 230 million?
My mom, actually, my grandmother, she's like in her late 80s now, and she is like constantly chain smoking cigarettes and playing on Pogo.com and on Facebook games.
I mean,
like she would play Bejeweled Blitz and in her, she like doesn't even have feeling in her right hand anymore, and is beating my score in Bejeweled Blitz like on a daily basis. So I don't really understand how that's going on. But like she always she uses it as a social thing though, because she plays and she talks to people and she meets people and she plays with some of her relatives in Italy and stuff and all these social games.
Well,
But I'm sure if you asked her if she plays video games, I'm sure she would even tell you no.
Right.
I'm sure that would
but
be
I
her
mean, even
response.
before that, it was Solitaire, Minesweeper, Mahjong.
Minesweeper.
And all these things are casino games. But why do you think that...
God, casinos. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, why do you think it is like... Because honestly, the guy... You know, we were talking about the person that made this comment. And that's kind of like... Okay, that person compulsively plays Angry Birds.
But
Like,
you said he was actually on his phone, like in between when y'all were doing. He was actually playing
Yeah,
his
I
phone.
mean, well, not
I don't
that.
know
It
this
was another
person's
time.
name.
But yeah, playing a lot of Angry Birds.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that play Angry Birds but don't play video games. So, what... I mean...
Where do you draw the line?
Well,
Is there a
why
line
do
to
you think
draw?
that's the mentality? Why? I mean, I don't know.
I don't think people even see mobile games as video games, which is another thing on their phone. Like people just because literally all those apps and stuff, like everyone is playing those.
Yeah,
like
right.
anyone who has a
Those aren't a
smartphone,
waste of
That's
almost everyone is playing this. Even my parent or my mom, who hasn't touched a video game since she probably played Mario with me when I was a kid. You know, she was playing stuff like Words with Friends or Draw Something. And didn't you say Jamie played Draw Something? I thought you said.
Yeah, she played Joel
See, and that's still
For a little bit.
that's still a stupid game
for
that
a
she
week,
played on
which
her
I think
phone.
was about the length of time that anybody played that
They
game.
got the good deal out of that, so it's fine. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, they
I think
did.
everyone plays mobile games at least at some point.
But why
Yeah,
do you think that people don't see mobile games as video games?
Because they're stupid.
It's
I need a broader answer.
I don't know.
it's kind of interesting though when
I
you
can't go
look at
broader.
it. Some guy came in I don't know about a month ago, and he's like,
I am ignorant.
sort of. He wasn't trying to be, but he's like, well, I don't see how he was asking about like a DS, and I was explaining how DSs are awesome.
How it has two screens.
And he's like, well, I just don't see how. I don't understand the point of buying this when in a couple years, all like these iPhone games are just going to be everything like that everybody plays. And I was like, well, you have to look at it like this. Right now on the iPhone and things like that, there's some fun games out there. I'm not gonna lie, I play some games on my phone like that. But there's when you look at games on like consoles and even the handheld consoles and stuff like that, a lot of the games that you're buying these like systems for is these games that have these stories, and that's what draws you in. And that's what like a lot of these mobile games don't have. They don't have these stories.
Or even if it's not story, Nintendo, who usually doesn't even have great stories, does a really good job about making games that hold your attention for a long period of time. Like mobile games are usually made to be these, or mobile phone games and stuff are usually made these quick, like hold your attention span for a few seconds and you put them down and stuff like that.
because you're like in the waiting room or something.
Right,
like
where
that.
something like even Mario, even though you could play it in short bursts, it has a lot more longevity in the
Longevity?
Yes,
Longevity
you can,
is
yeah, exactly.
correct.
You can just play that game forever, and it just
Sure.
has a lot more to it.
And well,
I think they're deeper.
Can anybody tell me that their favorite character from a mobile game?
Yes,
The red bird from
There you
Angry
go.
Birds. I like a yellow one shaped like a triangle.
Like there's like marketing and stuff out there, but those aren't real characters. Those are just like set pieces that people enjoy.
but I do
like,
think eventually it's going to get to that point where
I
you
mean,
will
I'm not
be.
saying there won't be, but I don't.
But if it gets to that point, will it not then just be like
It's the same thing.
it's it is
Yeah,
and I guess
Yeah,
that's
it is
back to
gonna
my
be the
point.
same thing.
People are that's what people are missing.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
is-
They're not being able to connect to that in
Yeah.
their mind.
well, maybe that's a good thing though, right? Because I mean, they'll be
Yeah,
playing
no,
these
that
mobile
bridges
games.
the gap, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure a couple of years down the line we will see Nintendo making cell phones or something
let's-
along
let's-
those
I mean,
lines.
let's be honest,
I
so-
wouldn't be that surprised.
So an iPhone as a gaming device is a more expensive gaming device than a Nintendo DS.
See.
So I mean,
well, I can't call people my DS.
Yeah,
to be fair.
well,
but-
what I think is cool is what I was talking to Josh about.
Pick their
the other-
chat, though.
is awesome and amazing. We need to become friends if I can do that all the time. So what me and Josh were talking about, because I read an article, I don't remember where it's from or I'd source it or whatever, but they basically said that they asked the question, is iOS the biggest gaming platform now? Like in general, like is it the one with the most mass appeal and broad appeal to people. And I feel like you could argue it either way, but it's really hard to argue against saying, like, does that appeal to the most people?
Right.
Because
I got a larger audience.
like on Christmas Day, there were like what, a couple of 100 million downloads of Angry Birds, like all at once, just on Christmas morning between iPod touches.
Like,
it was iPod touches,
You get,
and
we
Oh,
get
you get
iTunes
actual
or iPads
Right, you
and
get
stuff
an
like
actual
that.
device on that.
Yeah, and there were just so many so many people have a device that can play Angry Birds and stuff like that now, where I'm glad, like, people shit on mobile games all the time, but I'm glad mobile games have gotten as popular as they are, because that just means that more people are playing video games, more people are understanding, and that's, less people have to wait to die to understand about why video games are great.
Well, I think it's interesting because, I mean, now we could argue, to the legitimacy of a Final Fantasy game Tactics costing $17 on a mobile market, but I do think it's interesting that, I mean, what does Chrono Trigger cost right now?
10, I think.
10, right? Okay, so I think it's interesting though that you're taking these, Chrono Trigger, which we both discuss as our favorite game, and you're surfing through these games and you're like, oh, what's this game?
Yeah.
And as much as I negatively speak about mobile gaming, if someone playing Chrono Trigger on an iPad, if that is how they can play that game, and that then causes that bridges that mental gap, then I have to stand behind mobile gaming.
And I think Square is one of the only companies that's really been supporting that. Square and sometimes like Namco with some of their stuff, but Square's been really good about having their Final Fantasy games, like 1, 2, and 3 is on there.
3's on there, yeah.
And
$13.
they're putting, I said they even, and Square had Chaos Rings, which is like this really actual pretty good iOS RPG that's only on this mobile platform. And I mean, they've really been trying to push that.
Well,
I
you
think
have
that's
Grand
really good.
Theft Auto freaking 3.
Right, which is amazing on my iPad, and it's crazy that I can play that game with no buttons, but having something like Grand Theft Auto 3 on a portable device for me that looks and plays better than the ones on PSP did is really neat to me, that I can have that on something like my iPad or my iPhone or on any of the Android devices. So pretty much anyone with a smartphone now can play Grand Theft Auto 3 for like $1 or $5 when it goes on sale. Like, that is amazing now that, that game has that much of a broad appeal and people can get to it.
Right. What do you...
I don't know. I don't have anything to say. I agree.
You don't play mobile
But you
games?
can't play those because you won't get girls that way. Did you know that?
I mean, but why do you think people have that mentality? Like, why is that not...
Because they're stupid. Like I said earlier. Because it's just ignorant. It's stupid.
It's one of those ease of access things. It's in my opinion, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, so I think it's ease of access. They already have a phone.
Yep.
They're looking for something to do, like I said, when they're sitting around the doctor's office or something.
I think it's like 70 or 60% of people who play mobile games either play them in bed or they play them when they're waiting for an appointment, and that's what everyone
That's
plays.
when
games.
that's
So
when I
you can
started
waste
mastering
time.
Snake,
Yeah.
DMV.
So
Wasting time on purpose.
Yeah, because like
Since that's okay to do, but you can't play a video game.
I still-
console.
But
So,
here's what's... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say that is a whole nother topic that has really bothered me for a long time.
Right.
Is people using games or using things like mobile games to like kind of cure that silence that used to always happen in between things. Like we play certain games like to just pass time, like Bejeweled. There's certain things that some people just do it just to pass, or Farmville, like these time waster games. People will just play them instead of just doing normal human, like reflecting on life and thinking about things. And I do have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I do have a problem with people who feel like they have to be doing something, like playing a game or doing something every moment of their life. And
But is
that's
it
a
even just
whole
the
nother
game
topic
so
to
much
me.
as like
No,
browsing the internet?
right? No, it's the same thing browsing the internet, and games just also take that space where they're like filling, and that bothers me. But that's, like I said, that's a whole nother insane
But
thing.
I mean, let's take that train of thought and say, okay, so let's say I'm in a waiting room, right? I'm waiting on the DMV. Let's say the DMV, right?
Should have went to the
Because-
Express DMV in Baton Rouge because it's amazing.
exactly.
Just
But
nature.
let's say that I'm waiting at the DMV and okay, I'm pulling out my phone to play a game and waste time, right? And let's
Because
say,
you didn't have your 3DS with you since.
well,
you
I was going to say,
actually-
so let's see that someone across from me pulls out their 3DS and starts playing that. Now, if you see me playing on my phone, whatever. You see me playing on my DS, it's like, well, hold on now.
Yep.
Hold on now.
Douche
this
child.
is strange.
Yeah,
this is bizarre. This
that
person is an
grown adult
antisocial.
has-
You know, I can tell you that happens to me. I definitely feel more comfortable pulling out my phone, and in fact, I've used my Game Boy Micro while walking with my girlfriend in the mall while we're in a store while she's shopping. but I would never pull out my 3DS in the mall while she's shopping. But my micro is small enough and it looks like a phone.
But people think of the micro as a phone.
Exactly. But I think I would have a problem with that stigma of pulling out my DS. And just
but we can at least say that it is a stigma, right?
Yeah, I guess that's probably why that is. Yeah, and because yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget when we were at the airport in St. Thomas coming back from our honeymoon. We had our freaking flights delayed so many times. There's only so much you can do in the waiting area at an airport. Mm-hmm. So Jamie had started on some book, and I pulled out the DS. I had Chrono Trigger because why not?
What other game do you play?
She sleeps on the flights, and I pulled it out. But I think next to me, 2 seats down, there was an 8-year-old kid who had his DS too, and it was I was just wondering what his parent thought who's this loser guy? Well, this loser guy's on his honeymoon. Look, all right.
Did he just steal the DS from my son?
Right, I'm being a kid. Hey, kid.
Yeah.
This one. But it's an interesting. But it's it's an interesting stigma. If someone pulled out their DS, I know that I double check them. I've seen someone pull out in the movie theater before.
Yep.
The DS,
and
it's clarified.
Yeah. But I was just wait a second. Now that was weird because they were around other people, and I'm why don't you socialize?
Yeah, that's.
But at the same time, that notwithstanding, I just think that.
I did find was weird that when I was in Tokyo, that was something that definitely wasn't the stigma over there. Even though people who play video games all the time are kind of looked down upon if that's all you're doing. When you're on the subway or walking around, there were people constantly on their PSPs or DSs. There wasn't a time where I got into some form of public transportation that I didn't see 1 or 2 people on a DS or a PSP. Mm-hmm. And that's just, I guess, a difference of culture. But that was constantly I saw someone. And it was all over the age spectrum. It would be a little kid, an older woman. I saw a woman who had to be pushing 60, just playing her DS, whatever she was doing. And it was always fun for me to try to sneak a peek at what they were playing every single time. It was blowing my mind what people were playing. But it was mostly actually just Monster Hunter or Dragon. It was Monster Hunter or Dragon Quest every time.
That's the only game
unless it was Pokemon. Yeah, that was the only thing. But you literally see them walking around everywhere. Yeah, but I do find it weird how we're always on our phones, but the stigma here is still video game systems are a no-no.
Right. Well, what about the people that come in? I worked at Best Buy. We all, 3 of us, we work together, and Christmas comes, or not even really Christmas, but people come in, they're I'm looking for an Xbox. I really like to get the Kinect, and I say, okay, well, what kind of games do you like to play? Well, I don't know. I don't really play games.
Well, you do now.
Okay. All right. Well, then
good marketing by Microsoft is the fact that they just walked in there and said what you just said. Right. That just means the marketing.
And I agree
excellent.
wholeheartedly. But do you think that person would say? So let's say they actively played. I don't know, Just Dance 3. That was their thing. 3 or 4 times a week they came home and played Just Dance 3 with their kid or their significant other. God help them, first off. But second of all,
because they should have been playing Dance Central.
Right. Yeah. But I'm saying, so that person, you say, do you play games? Are you an active game player? No. But why? Do you think that? What do you think?
No, I think that's just the stigma. I tell people people who play WoW. There are a lot of people who play World of Warcraft who don't even call themselves gamers. That's how big that game got. I just feel that's just the way it is. They're just. I don't know. That's just.
Well, I think World of Warcraft appealed to a lot of people who weren't quote unquote. I remember I worked at a restaurant and I had one of my managers who was I have my PC hooked up to my living room TV and I sit in my chair and play my keyboard and play World of Warcraft. I look at him what?
Well,
you?
Well, I think World of Warcraft for a lot of people became almost like golf. In terms of that businessy thing that some people just played to kind of network with people, and people would if someone at your job played it, you get other people to play it, and managers are playing it, and people playing, and it was almost like that for a lot of people. People you would never expect to play something like that were all up in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I just think it's interesting. And we could sit here. I don't know if you could ever even come up with a reason why, but it's people come in and buy the Kinect. I'm sorry, buy the Wii. That's another one. The Wii. What do you do? Why use Wii Fit?
Yeah.
Every day I do Wii Fit. Well, that's fine. You officially play video games more than I do a week. But I'm a gamer and you're not. What's going on?
Yeah, like I said, I think it all just boils down to just people's opinions. The way people view it. It's just like you said. There's a stigma against it, so people just don't associate it the same way.
Do you have any?
No, I think Neil's dead on. It's just how there's a gap that has yet to be bridged. I think is the problem.
They need to die.
We need a bridge of corpses.
Yes. Yep. There's just something people aren't it's not clicking
I
with
hope
some
that's in
people. Or,
Darksiders.
yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Bridge of Corpses.
Bridge of
Spoiler
Corpses.
alert.
All of you who hate video games die in that game. No, I just
Just like THQ.
Too soon.
But yeah, no, I just think it's just that. Like, there's just something people aren't seeing or clicking with them that, or they're just choosing to not pick up.
That's
on.
probably not going to change.
No, I agree. It's
There's a lot that's not going to change.
Yeah.
this is why we have to get this podcast out, people.
It's
We
going
have
to change
to-
the world.
Yeah,
But do you
we're the
think
future.
that some people
One cheat code at a
would
time.
do you think that there are some people, and this is more than we could probably even say, but like, do you ever think there's a point in time where people maybe realize, like, oh man, I'm playing video games a lot, and it's almost like, you think that maybe there could be like a denial thing, at least?
Yeah, I have that thing every day. No, I feel like that definitely could happen. Like we were talking about with like people who get addicted to iPhone games. Like there are people who just can't like my roommate. She would never admit to playing video games in her whole entire life. And I caught her playing Triple Town on her phone, which is an awesome iPhone game. But she was just sitting there playing it for like literally 3 hours. Like I went in my room, came back out, and she's just still sitting there with her phone charged up playing the game. But she would never consider herself a gamer. But someone recommended her a game. It's one of those little addicting iPhone games. She plays it all the time. But
Right.
yeah, I think but she would never admit that.
Yeah,
Deep down inside, we're all gamers.
It's true.
We're all playing the game of life.
And we're gonna close on that.
Oh, boom.
Quote of the night.
yeah, I got nothing else to say.
Yeah, I'm
I have a
not
funny
saying
question.
that. I thought we were closing on that.
No, I want to talk about this. It's kind of off topic. I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but
Okay.
let's feel like we work at retail stores, sell video games and stuff.
Yeah.
How many times have people come in asking for a copy of Angry Birds?
Oh, that's
Well,
all
you know it's coming out, right? It's
Yeah.
the Angry Birds trilogy, published by Activision. Is coming out.
Of course,
It's coming out
Activision.
this holiday as a trilogy of all your favorite Angry Bird games, all on one disc, and it
it's
has
actually
moved.
a
And it
disc
has
now.
moved. Don't know about Kinect support, but I would be damn sure it probably does. But it definitely has Move support because I saw they changed the box art today, so I saw it.
Is it gonna be
Anyway,
compatible
last
with,
Christmas I got that a
Spyro?
lot.
Yeah.
I got that
For a
all the
copy
time.
of Angry Birds.
People
Like,
come in
here,
at-
let me see your iPhone
Well,
real quick.
it's coming out on 3DS too. They were stupid to not have that. Like,
Oh,
just
no,
as a thing.
how is that
Yeah,
not
I
a
mean,
DS
people
game?
obviously would have wanted it, and they will pay the $40 price tag that it has.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
To throw birds
Yeah.
at things.
Yep.
Let's
$40,
close on
guys.
that sad
$40.
note then.
Well, I mean, closing this. So I have an opinion. You know,
Josh?
What? No, you
Josh
don't.
Carly?
No, I
Oh, no! Oh no!
I
Oh,
have
pause the podcast.
I have an opinion on this subject that I think is, you know, if someone were to tell me, if I were to ask someone, I say, what kind of music do you listen to? And someone were to tell me, oh, I don't listen to music, I don't like music. You look at a person and you would be like, what?
I look at that douche all the time. They come in all the time to my store and tell me stuff like that.
I mean, it's an absurd. Like
So they wouldn't know what music is.
So you
Wouldn't know
actively
the
dislike
definition of
every
music.
genre of music that exists. Do you like movies? No, I don't like movies. You don't like any movies ever. You don't. There's no movie that interests you that you have any of it. No, I don't like any of those. And I mean, we can.
The boy in the
Like,
striped
how could you
pajamas.
not like Bridesmaids?
I think that's
Exactly,
a
yeah.
perfectly valid question.
Exactly.
That's a great movie. But
Or
you know, I
any
think,
Godzilla movie.
Fact. Except for the last remake that
Gojira.
American.
Yeah,
made,
that
Not going
that
on the
doesn't
project.
count.
but like I mean, like it's sad that you could say, and people say it a lot of times for books, and it's weird that it's sad that we're having a conversation. People are like, oh, I don't like books, and it's like,
Dude, those people
oh.
are everywhere, and I hate all of them. They need to die too.
Well, but the whole thing is like, it's like, do you hate books? Do you hate books because the only books you've ever read are because of what you were made to read in school?
Actually,
there are no
I
pictures or
do think
colors.
that's why people hate books.
Well,
but yeah.
I agree, but you know, the common
And some of the ones that are
common-
selected at your schools is probably also why you hate books.
Well, but the common
I
rebuttal
read
to that
Goosebumps
is,
at my school.
Except for when you're told to read Ender's Game, because then you have the best.
I didn't
well,
read
I mean, but
school.
the common rebuttal to that is, well, you just haven't found the right book.
No, it's douche.
Well,
That's my response.
healthy
And then
dialogue
you-
and a healthy dialogue.
Are there
option.
but are there
Then
really
you give
that
them
many
a
people who
coloring
like
book.
admit to like I don't like books?
Yes.
Yes.
But when they say it, is I don't like books.
No. I guarantee you there are a lot of
No,
people.
it's usually followed by a tobacco spit. But I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I know.
I think it's just because we live in Louisiana. That's probably why it's like.
But I'm
this.
saying, but the point is, so why is that? Do you think so? For someone, do you think that carries over? Because I think it does. They say, what kind of video games do you like? Oh, I don't like video games. I mean, do you think now that video games are a big enough thing, mobile gaming inclusive, inclusive, that you can look at that person and say, well, I just don't think that you've played the right video game. I mean, do you think that's a valid point?
Yes, that is what I do to every customer that comes into my job. I tell them that all the time. I'm like, so you don't play any games, and then I always make them admit to me that they play games, and it's always happened. Like they've always played a game.
You could argue that mobile gaming is like the twilight of gaming in a way, because it's just like the really simple, and some of the more pompous gamers like Neil would look at some people like,
he just had to try to find a way to make me seem like the pompous one. That's fine.
I mean,
pompous video game douche.
Yeah,
that's what you are.
Born and raised.
Hey, there you go. But I'm saying, do you think that is a fair thing to say? Like, I mean, at this point in video gaming, I mean, Andrew, what do you think?
I wasn't listening to this. I was distracted by Neil.
So, Michael, do you think that that's a valid opinion to have? Like, to say to someone, well, you just haven't found the right video game?
No, I definitely think I would tell people that all the time. Well, not so much like in a condescending manner. Like,
that'd be my job.
Yeah, it's Neil's job to be condescending. I'd be a bit more polite about it. I'd be like, well, have you checked out this game? Like, well, I've seen something like that. I'm like, okay, well.
So, like, do they play one game and not like it, just give up video games altogether after they hated one game?
No, I think this is those people who don't consider. Like, it's just like the music. People just don't consider. They don't really like it. So, I don't listen to it.
And that person goes out and plays Majora on their phone.
All right, next week we're gonna do the thing we lied about and said we were gonna do this week, or.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't lie about it. I just think that we want to come in. We want to make sure our Dungeons and Dragons episode is awesome. We want to make sure that it is awesome.
It will be. I feel like it will be.
It will be. I think so. So next week, we're gonna be playing Dungeons and Dragons. You haven't played, Neil, right?
I have not played. Correct.
All right, Neil has not played. Josh, have not played. Joe,
I have played.
How many times have you've only played once or twice, right?
I played D&D once, but my friend invented a variation of that game. I played that oh my god, I can't even count that high. That many times. But I know how D&D works.
I can't count that high. So I'd be like at least 10 or 12.
Somewhere in the don't.
Yeah, I've been playing
It's
basically all summer. So
okay, D&D.
So all right, so next week D&D. Let us, of course, like I said, we appreciate your feedback. So let us know what you think on this subject, because I think this is more of a conversational subject than stuff that we've talked about before.
Just opinions.
So if you, and I think it's interesting because I know that not all of you guys that listen play video games.
You mean girls too?
Ooh,
girls, yes,
guys or girls play video.
I know some of you 5 listeners don't play video games. So I really am interested to know, or for those of you even that do, but I am interested to know what about games? What keeps you from playing games? Like, what holds you back from playing games? And just give us some feedback on what we've said. People who do play games, give us some feedback. We love feedback. Again, whether or not we agree or disagree with it. But I want to know what makes you play games, what makes you not play games.
Or what keeps you coming back to video games even after you've realized I'm spending so much time playing this.
Because deep down inside, we're all gamers. Because we play the game of life.
Done.